you wondered what this new approach called positive psychology is all about? Well, essentially, it's the scientific study of the strengths and virtues that allow individuals, communities, and organizations to not only live, but thrive and flourish. It's a terrific, fresh, new approach. And what's so wonderful and fresh about it is, for all the years that psychology's been around, we primarily focused on that 14% who were depressed, or that 12% who were languishing. And our goal was to get them up to moderate or good enough. You can tell where people are by how they answer the question, how are you? I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm good. But there are those who say, I'm great, I'm terrific, thank you. Then there's those communities that you can tell are not only living but thriving and flourishing. They constantly make the #1 place to live. Or those organizations that are always off the top of the charts financially, and employees rate them as some of the best employers out there. Those are the ones that are flourishing. And currently, that's only about 17% of the population. So the goal of positive psychology is basically to move all of us up an extra notch, to try to get flourishing to be more in that 50%. And what the surprising results of their scientific studies, and this is based at the University of Pennsylvania, at Harvard, it's the #1 class for enrollment, is that we are ultimately in control of our happiness. 50% is our genetic set point, our general disposition, that what we're born with. For example, you have Eeyore at one end of the spectrum from Winnie the Pooh, and I think Eeyore is naturally, definitely on the depressed side. Then you have Pollyanna, the classic tale of the super chipper orphan girl who always finds the positive in everything, somewhat annoyingly so at times, I'm sure. We found that 40% we can change. We can change how our brain is actually wired by how we think and what we do. With the discovery of neuroscience, it's absolutely infinite what our new possibilities are. And only 10% is our circumstances. So when we say, geez, the economy, it's I need a new job, I need a new spouse, I need a new house, win the lottery, earn more money, those things certainly help, and they certainly relieve the stress, but they're only 10%. And that was one of the most surprising science results of all of the research for happiness. So in this brief video, I'm going to give you a sampler of those elements that they found actually work towards moving us into flourishing if they're practiced. One is positivity and optimism. The other one is engagement with the world around us, relationships, meaning and purpose, sense of achievement, and using our personal strengths, character strengths, to enable us to make these things happen in their fullest. So the first element is experiencing optimism or positive emotion. That means happiness, joy, gratitude, kindness, savoring, zest. All those are things we need to practice. Even finding those mantras that can keep us in that space without being nauseatingly saccharine, of course. There is a realism that goes along with all of this. So I'm particularly fond of the line, it'll all work out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. And the next essential element is what they call engagement and flow. That's where we use our strengths, what we're good at, to meet those challenges and those things that give us an overall sense of being so blissfully absorbed in what we're doing that we actually lose track of time. This can be work, this can be a hobby, of course play. And the tricky part of this is there's a sweet spot between not so challenging that we become discouraged and not so easy that we become bored. But they discovered that people who can thoroughly engage in flow are happier overall. And one of the critical elements is healthy relationships. And that means those relationships in your personal life, your social and friendship, and your professional. It means knowing how to love and be loved, or be a good friend, or a good colleague. And I describe healthy relationships as those that have all three elements that include reciprocity of effort, reliability of commitment, and respect for one's values, or at least non-violation. It's also, once again, knowing how to love and be loved. Relationships are essential. Another essential ingredient is meaning and purpose. Feeling that we have a reason to get up in the morning. That life has meaning and there's a connection to one's purpose, something beyond ourselves, and ideally that has a positive impact on others. And I think as employers, neighbors, and friends, we need to help our colleagues, lovers, and friends realize what they're doing is important. It doesn't have to be necessarily waking up and solving the problem of world peace. But even that store greeter that says, "Have a nice day, here's your cart," has a positive impact on us. So look at the small ways that we bring it back into the world. Most of us are doing something, we just don't recognize it. And we need to help each other recognize that in our lives. The next essential ingredient is a sense of achievement, a sense that we've accomplished goals, or that we've experienced success. It may be something as small as finally got that closet cleaned, or something as large as making CEO of an organization. But the important part is that we strive towards it and then recognize it when it happens, in those small ways or those big ways, and helping our lovers, friends, and colleagues recognize when they have achieved something and been successful. Sometimes in business world especially, it's not about the perks. It's about knowing you have a sense of a job well done. And we need that. It's critical. And a huge piece of this positive psychology movement is the recognition of character strengths. And those are described as actually called the Values in Action Classification of Character Strengths. And it's comprised of 24 character strengths that fall under the categories such as wisdom and knowledge, courage, transcendence, temperance, justice. All of these are morally and universally valued, so they cross cultures. That was one of the tricky parts. And they encompass our capacity for helping ourselves and others lead more productive, fulfilling, and flourishing lives. There's a way you can learn what your strengths are. You can go through my website, jody@jodyandrews.com, or you can go to the VIA classification of character strengths and take the survey there, or go to the University of Pennsylvania's AuthenticHappiness.org site. And it's a wonderful team-building activity in a work situation. It's terrific for families to see what strengths do we bring to the table. And if we know what we do well, then we know when we can come back and have somebody else help us with those things we don't. So instead of focusing on what's wrong with us, positive psychology focuses on what's right. And the character strengths are a great way to find out what's right with us. So thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about this wonderful new movement in psychology. I'm confident that it's here to stay. It's very scientifically validated. And if you'd like more information, you can go to my website, Jody, Jody, Andrews, not quite Mary Poppins.com. I teach these classes at the Auraria campus in downtown Denver, and I do workshops. So you can always find somewhere to learn a little bit more about it. Like I said it before, it's the #1 class at Harvard. And again, it's here to stay. It's a way that we can all learn, not just to live, but to thrive and flourish in our personal lives, our communities, and our organizations and work. Thank you.